The Airfix Fairey Gannet in 1/48 scale. Who would have thought that 334 parts could take such a long time to put together? I made a start on mine. This is how far I've got. Find out more right here on Gary's Stuff. Hi there, I'm Gary. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today is the first part of my build of the Airfix Fairey Gannet in 1/48 scale. Now in today's video, I'll be taking it from starting the kit through building the cockpit and fuselage and building the wing sections and so on and so forth, taking the kit ready to start paint. The next video will be painting the component parts and then assembling and finishing off the whole project. If you like the show, and I hope you do, please do remember, give it the old imperial thumbs up on the like button below because every like counts. And of course, if you haven't done so yet, please do subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell at no cost to you. You'll then be notified of all my future content as it is published. And of course, if you'd like to provide a bit more concrete support for the channel, you can do that through Super Thanks by becoming a channel member or by using any of my online affiliate programs. One of these is the Airfix affiliate program. If you want to buy this kit or anything else and you haven't got a local hobby store you'd like to support, then why not go to the Airfix store, use the link in the information box below, buy whatever you want to buy, and then at no extra cost to you, Airfix will make a donation to the running of this channel. You will still get your 10% Airfix Club discount if you're a member, and you'll still be collecting your hobby reward points if you collect those. So let's make a start then on this 1/48 scale Fairey Gannet from Airfix. Right, we're starting with the bomb bay, or weapons bay, whatever you like to call it. The end clips on here. It's at an angle, you'll notice. And to help with those angles, there's these 4 little triangular supports there. That will help you set that angle correctly. There you go. Like so. And at the other end of the weapons bay, there's another piece that slots in. Like so. This floor piece goes underneath the tab here and sits against the wall like that. And it should just touch these edges here. Then on the back here, there's this piece goes in. You can see there's a little tab to make sure it's the right way around, and it sits like so. Then there's the main spar. You can see there's a tab here it sits up against, and then 2 locating pins as well. So that tells you which way around it goes, and it also makes sure it's absolutely square. I would make sure that you maybe clamp this in place to make sure it's absolutely tight in. Now the instructions say to put in this part here, which is a sort of bucket, and fill it with 12 grams of weight. I personally think I can do better by putting in 4 of my own little bicycle weights. It fits in the same area, but it gives me 20 grams, which is twice as much. So I won't have to find as much elsewhere later on. Then the cockpit cabin pieces can slot in on top. At the back here, there's a pair of tabs here, there's tabs here, there's a little L-shaped bracket here. There's nothing on this part. And then there's a tab with a little peg on it right at the very front. There we go, like so. And just maybe actually tape that up or clamp that up to make absolutely sure these connections are made properly. 3. We also need to put in these pieces. These are like liners for the, this is the forward gear bay, I believe. And so these are just like all the bits of pipework and all that couldn't mould onto this piece directly. So we just need to add them in. So. And there's a similar piece sits in the back here. There we go, like so. Does remind me slightly of a crocodile at the moment. Yes, it's snappy jaws and legs and the tail. Or maybe I was up late last night with the live stream, whatever it is. This is the, the Bombay forward nose wheel bay, and cockpit assembly all done. And I'm going to leave those alone because I'm going to be spraying this black. I'm not going to bother spraying this sky because I'm having the doors open, so eventually when the whole thing's done, the whole of the bottom of the aircraft is sky and I can do that then. But anyway, leave that to be for a while, then just spray the top of this black and spray some more components black. We'll come back and we'll assemble the crew positions. Talking about weights again, there's this piece which comes on the sprue on the frame, what you like, called A5. It's a bucket, and its original purpose was indeed to hold weights. You put it in here, and it would sit there, and it would hold weight just like the one immediately behind would have done. However, Airfix found that they suggest 55 grams here, and you cannot fill that with anything reasonable and make it weigh 55 grams to put in there. So it's a redundant part because it don't work. So they suggest you put 55 grams in here, and we're going to do that with some more cycle weights. But it's quite a useful thing to put in and then just mark off exactly how far you can go with your weights. Because if it was intended for this, then as long as you sort of put some red lines on, as long as your weights are within those red lines, and obviously side to side they need to be as well, then your weights will be fine. One slight quibble I have with making the instructions smaller, like they have, making all the diagrams small, it saves a lot of paper, and that's a noble thing. But however, it means that when you get instructions like this, it's a little tricky to know where this is actually supposed to go. This decal here is for an instrument of some description. I don't know what. However, it's supposed to go here. With, see these little chunks here, that's where the instrument panel sits. So it can't go there because instrument panel will sit on it. And if we look on the kit itself, I suppose it could go there, but then that's going to be, it makes no sense if the pilot's sitting over here for there to be an instrument here. It's not going to be able to see. So I'm kind of confused by that. I mean, I'm going to put it as close to that as I can, I guess. But it just seems that there's an instrument there that, they're asking you to put a decal on, which really, I don't know if it ever even goes there. I've no idea. Anyway, we'll just see how we go. I'm going to start putting in some of the consoles now. This one is made up of one piece here, this piece, so that this console is going in next. There's this one piece here. There's a piece here, this sort of tunnel thing behind the, what I presume is a radar unit. And then there's a base as well. When all together, bit of dry brushing, some decals on top, and then it sits on top of this plinth type thing at the back of the cockpit, like so. Like that. Next is this little bulkhead here. It comes in two parts. There's the actual sort of bulkhead, and then there's this sort of groove or channel sort of thing that fits in there, and that meets up with the other bulkhead part, like so. There's a bulkhead here that sits in, and I've already put, there's like a seat back that goes onto it there. We can just, there's some stops here that keep it pointing upwards. So when the pilot's seat goes in, there's like I need some tweezers for this. Pilot's seat goes in, sits on like a plinth, and there's a tab to make sure the seat sits in the right position. Pilot's seat goes in. So then the next chap back, was he? Don't know if he's the navigator or the observer, or both. His seat goes in as well. Onto this little post thing here. Again, just make sure it's lined up properly. Touch up all the colour in a bit. There we go. So, pilot seat. Next seat along, whatever that one that is, and then the pilot seat in place. I can put the control column in. So the control column just sits into these two small holes at the base of the cockpit floor, like so. There's a piece that fits in here, which is another repeater unit for the radar and some other instruments. It's made up of a base piece here, these two side boxes, and this top piece. And the rear seater's seat, as it were, goes in here, again on that sort of spindle, and there's a tab to keep it pointing fore and aft correctly. Piece that fits into the back of the cockpit like this. That forms the back of the seat. Let's make sure that's all upright. There we go. Then there's this bulkhead. So let's get that way around because you can see what's going on with that. You know, bulkhead that sits in like that. And that just needs a bit of glue to set it in place. And the last thing to go in here is the instrument panel. Sits like so. And there we go. It's quite a, zoom aspect, quite a busy looking interior, but looks nice. And before we can put the sides of the aircraft together, there's a couple of panels that sit in each side, like here. We just glue those into place. And there's also a small window here that needs to go in, don't forget that. When all these side pieces are in on both sides, then we can close up the cockpit, close up the fuselage indeed. First thing to do is slide the spars into the sides like so. And we can make sure everything's lined up as it should be. It appears to be. There. Yep, that all appears to be quite nice. And put the other half on. And start lining them up and start pinching the parts together, and then start going around with some tape to hold everything in place. And there the fuselage is bound together. Now run some glue along the seams here. What I'm going to do is do the top seams first, let them dry good and solid, and then I'll separately clamp up these bottom seams and make sure they're all done so it doesn't pull these ones apart later on. So I'll do the top seams first, then the bottom seams. Now this is the where the radome fits. Now if you're having the aircraft in flight and with the radome deployed, then there's this little step that needs to go in, because then the radome sits against that and then pokes out the bottom. However, I'm not, so I can dispose of that, and that can just go on the back of the aircraft. You'll see there's a little circle. That's where the top of the radome is going to fit, and this sits on the bottom of the aircraft like so. Now, because I'm slightly contrary, I'm going to be doing this ahead of the schedule. I'm going to put the nose on while I've got, I think it'll just hold the structure of the whole kit together better going forward than leaving it later on. Don't have to worry about the props because the prop fits from the front. There's no backing to it to worry about. All you need to do is make sure this inlet piece here sits correctly, like so. Get a bit of glue. The other reason why I'm wanting to do it now is just in case I've put too much, the weight too far forward on this, I can correct that now and not worry about it afterwards. But I just want to make sure I've got enough weight, but also not so much it messes things up. So that's the inlets. You see those little inlet supports really for the twin members there. Then it just sort of slots in. Now, provided you've not put your weights too far forward, this will slot into place. Glory be, which it does. Glue it up, everything's good. Right, onto the undercarriage base now, and these, all the detail parts are liners for this main piece, which actually I quite like the idea of this. I mean, in the old days you'd probably have to set up this box of parts yourself and it wouldn't line up properly. This gives it a nice rigid box in which to sit, and then you just basically line the inside with all the detail parts. Just work your way around with all of these. 3. Then there's a piece that fits across the bay like so. That needs to go in. It doesn't go all the way down, you'll notice. It just sits level with this top piece here. The next thing they said to do is to get the door piece here and just test fit it to make sure it will slide in later on. Okay, you don't want to be finding, because when this goes on the wing, this sort of kind of hooks into place here, and you want to make sure it's going to go in. So anything that's going to stop it from sliding in, you want to get that sorted out now. Before we put the wings together, there's a couple of holes here and here that need to be drilled out. These are 1mm drill bits. You can then set the undercarriage box into the bottom half of the wing, like so, and then the inner wing fold mechanism into the end, like so. Then you can close up the wing, well, at least the inner section of the wing, like so. And it all goes together very nicely. 3. Now, because the wings are folded, or my one, the wings are folded, the flaps are going to be retracted. Now, on the aircraft with the extended wings, of course, you can have the flaps, and there's little flap assemblies that fit in here and here to hold the flaps in place if you want them deployed. If not, then you do the same as this, which is just snuggle them into the flap recess like this. Right, for the middle portion of each wing, if you're having the rockets fitted, then these are the holes you need to drill these out. They're 1.1 millimeters apparently. So to put this part of the wing together, we need the support box here. This provides a sort of a support for the upper surface so it doesn't get distorted when there's pressure put upon it. Which is a very sensible idea. Right, now on the upper surface of the wing, we're going to fit the outside fold mechanism. There's a little channel here, you can see. This piece fits into this channel. This has to go in first before the rest of the fold mechanism goes in. There we go, that goes in like that. Then this piece goes in here like so. There we go, like that. Then when you're happy, then the lower surface of the wing can go on. Like so. And we can just glue that up. This end fillet then slots in to the end of the wing like this. They do. So the inboard flaps sit here. This strange cutout, I don't know what that is, but it appears to be okay on the instructions. So yeah, that just goes in there. The port wing essentially is the same, except in addition to these 8 rockets positions, if you're going to use rockets, there is a small hole here you need to drill out as well for an instrument. The outer wing sections are relatively straightforward. There's this spacer as usual. Then the 2 halves simply go together. Then there's a fillet that goes in the end of the outer wing panel as well. And the wingtip is this transparent piece that sits in here, like so. The aileron comes in 2 halves, like so. And the aileron just slips into position like so. Each of the tail planes comes in 2 halves. And each elevator comes in 2 halves. Predictably enough, the rudder also comes in 2 halves, and it just slots onto the back of the aircraft like so. There we go then, that's as far as we've got. The parts are now primed and they're ready for the next video to be made. So I'll be painting the parts, doing the initial paint of this scheme, putting together some more things like undercarriage, weapons, propellers, so on and so forth, finishing the cockpits and the canopies, putting the whole thing together, finishing the paint job, decals and so on and so forth. That's all in the next video. When will you know that's around? The best thing to do, subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell and you'll be notified of all my future content at no extra cost to you. And of course, anything you like on my channel, please do give it the old imperial thumbs up on the like button below, because every like counts. Thank you so very much for watching today. Hope to see you again very soon. Take good care now and goodbye.